Going through the P6 Taonan paper. This is the English language paper 2 booklet A paper. Okay, so before we start, I always think it's very important to set some goals for yourself. So for booklet A, because this is mostly MCQ, try your very best to aim for 20 out of 28. I know it's very high, but this is so you can fall back on these marks in case booklet B is very difficult. So booklet B is often more open-ended questions. They're a bit more challenging, which means that you need to read even more carefully because it's very easy to lose marks here. So total marks, if you're able to get 48 and 20, you'll be getting 68 out of 95, which is actually not too bad. It's pretty good, quite decent. But yes, this is just to be safe. Okay, so before we start, it's always very important to write down your English elements of the English language and also think about some concepts in English which you have learned. Okay, so some English elements of the English language are nouns, pronouns, special nouns. You have speech sometimes. Speech looks like this when you have your apostrophe and your comma. Destination, sometimes you're given these locations and you have to infer a little bit. And the most important would be tenses. So always look at your tenses, especially for MCQ questions, because you need to know how to answer them. Then of course you have your vowels. You have also adjectives and principles and things like that. So just remember these things as you go along. There are also special English concepts like the neither nor question, which we will look at if it arises at any point in the paper. Okay, so yes. Alright, let's try the first one together. So always I advise students to look at all the questions in the grammar section because this will just give you a feel of how difficult the paper would be, and also gives you some time to prep yourself before you answer. Okay, so for grammar, always look at tenses like what I mentioned previously. So for the first one, it's blank. You save enough money, you cannot buy that PlayStation, mother told Bob. So this question is direct speech. So this is when mother, so mother would be the first character, is talking to Bob directly. Okay, so before, I know I've written the answer here already, but I'll explain why. Okay. So what this question is saying is that Bob does not have enough money and so he cannot buy the PlayStation. Okay, so before you start writing these questions, first thing to do is read the question. I'll just put this, read the question. Secondly, explain in your own words. Oops, let me try and see. Sorry, if I can push this down. Explain your own words what the question means. Why is this not? Okay, sorry. Okay, question means. Okay. 3, look at all the MCQ options. Right? So this is what you do when you get a grammar question. So first you look at this blank. You save enough money, you cannot buy that PlayStation. Okay. So let's try from the bottom. Although you save enough money, you cannot buy that PlayStation. So although usually talks about when you have a sentence with although, it'll usually start like although usually it's something bad or something good happens. So I call this the positive negative question. So this could be like good event, but bad event. So what am I talking about here? Okay, so if although was going to be used to describe what is happening here, it would probably be something like although Bob has enough money, or like although Bob did not have enough money, he still wanted the PlayStation. Okay, although, or it could look like this. If I want to use but, it would be something like although, okay, maybe don't look at this first. Although Bob did not have enough money, he still wanted the PlayStation. So this means that It's a little bit contradictory, but this is the negative bad event, this is the good event. So here we talk about how Bob does not have enough money, but he still wants the PlayStation, which means that he's not willing to give up on his goal. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, that's using if although was going to be used to describe this. So here despite is similar, you could say something like despite not having. Okay, let me move this to the top. Oh, I can't do that. Okay, wait. Oh no. Okay. So it could be something like this. Despite not having enough money, Bob still wanted the PlayStation. And here, mother could say something like, when you have enough money, when you save enough money, you can buy that PlayStation, or you may buy that PlayStation. And because until it's the only word that fits in this sentence, until you save enough money, you cannot buy that PlayStation. So that's why the answer is until. Okay? So whenever in doubt, just think about how you can use the options to describe the meaning of the sentence here, and you'll figure it out. Okay? Oh, this is another thing. Let me try and find. Okay. Alright, okay, so these are actually quite simple, quite straightforward. So I just did the first one to explain, but this is generally the format which you should be following for grammar questions. So look at the options. Rewrite the statements to help yourself understand better and see if the grammar words fit. Okay. Alright, okay, so for this section, 5 marks. It's testing your vocabulary. So put here at the top, vocab. Vocab is always a bit more challenging because you either know the words or you don't. So it's not really like grammar where you can kind of go through each word or each concept over and over again and practice. Vocab is really just about reading, so it's about how much do you read, and also do you feel like you're absorbing the words that you are learning. Okay, so yes, for vocab first, read carefully. Carefully. Do not write down, or do not submit answers of words which sound fanciful. Okay? Just because you don't know the meaning, okay? Just because they sound fanciful doesn't mean that it's correct. Okay? Sorry, hang on. My computer is frozen a little bit. Okay, so that's the first thing. So do not submit answers which sound fanciful just because you don't know the meaning. Always write the meaning. You could have multiple meanings. Sometimes you have connotations. So connotations, I'll give an example in a little bit at the side. Okay, so an example of what is a connotation exactly. So connotations are impressions of words. So sometimes words can have dual meanings. So or like they have the similar root word but they mean different things. So for example, the word famous usually creates a visual of like glory, power, glory, success. But so it's usually something good. Okay, I'll put like a little positive there. But if you say someone is infamous, it means that they are usually known for something bad. It's similar. Oh, sorry, it's different. something bad. So I'll do this. So these are connotations. These things are connotations. Okay, maybe we will try let's try the first one. Okay. Due to the floods, the power supply was affected and our electricity only came on. What do you think the answer is? Due to the floods, the power supply was affected and our electricity only came on. No, easily means that, okay, let's go through again. Easily means it means having little to no effort. Little to no effort was required. Okay? Alright, so if there are floods, so thinking about this logically, would it be easy for the electricity to come on if there were floods? No, right? Because electricity, like what we learn in science, electricity is affected when water is present. Okay, so that's why it cannot be easily, because of the water. So here you have the clue. Sometimes your questions will give you clues as well. So this obviously affects water. So logically, you know it affects water. It affects the electricity. Okay, so another thing to note about vocab is that look for clues in the statements. So like this is a clue. So you know that there's going to be a struggle, and also because here it states power supply was affected and the electricity only came on blank blank blank. Okay, shockingly means with great surprise or shock. So something you don't expect, unexpected. Intermittently means something that occurs at irregular intervals, or something that is unstable and unsteady. So irregular means something that's not regular, happens at various points, so there's no like one constant loop of something that's happening. What's the next one? Consequently, something that happens, so it's the effect of a cause, immediate effect of a cause. Okay, so what do you think the answer is? Due to the floods, the power supply was affected and our electricity only came on intermittently. Okay, so why is it intermittently? Because intermittently is the only one that fits. So here we cannot say it's easily, because a lot of effort must have been required just to have the electricity come on for a few minutes. And shockingly, maybe it wouldn't be shockingly because maybe the people who were there were affected, so maybe they felt shocked. But you wouldn't say that the electricity came on like shockingly. That doesn't make sense. So consequently, also is similar to the first option, easily, because it means that the electricity would have immediately come on right after the floods hit. So that's why intermittently is the only one that makes sense here. Okay, all right, so the next section. Okay, we are here. All right, okay, so this is similar. I think you can follow the same